Hi everyone, I hope you are all well. So last Team Teach I did a presentation on like calories and macronutrients. I thought this led nicely into a Team Teach about what you can actually eat to hit whatever your calorie and macro figure is, and hopefully this makes it super simple. So I always think the best meal structures are when it's nice and simple, because people think that nutrition needs to be far more complicated than it needs to be. So this is just going to show you how simple it needs to be. So I would always look to structure a plate like this. So half of it being fruit or veg, quarter of it being protein, a quarter of it being carbs, and then a little sprinkling of a fat source in there. And your macro split is usually like 40% carb, 30% protein, 30% fat, but obviously we need a good amount of fibre in there for fruit and veg. So in the client resource folder, there is this document, which if you're not using it already, like you're being silly, you're missing out. So go into the group chat, click on the group chat name, and in the bio there's a little folder, and this document alongside a lot of other documents is in it. If you choose something from the protein list, something from the carb list, something from the fat list, and then sprinkle in some fruit and veg here or there, well, not here or there, in every meal, you're really not going to be far off. And this kind of shows the foods and their specific amounts. So let's say if you were having a dinner that was based on chicken, I'd be having 150 to 200 grams as standard. I don't want to see anyone having like 80 to 100 grams of chicken. It's absolutely pointless. Too often we see that and we say time and time again, have 150, 200 grams. You need to be bumping up the amounts of things that you're having. Same with beef mince, have 150, 200 grams. The same with ham. Often people have, if you're making a ham sandwich, how many times do you just put one slice of ham in it? Have 4 or 5. The same with carbs. So this just shows the amount of like each kind of carb source, that is a rough guidance on what you should be having per portion. So if you're having pasta, weigh out 75 grams of uncooked. The same with rice, or you could be having a bag of Uncle Ben's. Super simple. So this is just some example meals that I eat all the time, and just shows how simple it should be. So an example breakfast would be 200 grams of Greek yogurt. That is so high in protein, but it's important to note that you need to be having Greek, not Greek style. Greek style is processed, it's not as many grams of protein. So make sure you're having Greek yogurt. Faye is a good brand, or Skia, which is like Icelandic yogurt, which is same. With 50 grams of oats, and then I'd be having some strawberries or blueberries, maybe even some banana in there, just as your like fibre in your fruit. And then you could maybe have a handful of almonds on there as your fat content. Then an example lunch would be something like tuna pasta salad. So 1 tin of tuna, 75 grams of pasta, with some, like, pack it out with salad, and then have some cheese on top. That is a perfectly balanced meal. And then of course some extra calories that you might have left over, you could have a dressing or sauce of your choice on top, and a packet of crisps, because you don't have to cut out that stuff. That's the beauty of tracking. You can make anything that you want work. And then for dinner, there we go, I'd be having something like a chili con carne. So you'd have 200 grams of mince, 75 grams of rice, your peppers, onions, carrots and celery, whatever you pack your chili full of, bit of cheese on top, and then obviously some extra calories for your chopped tomatoes and your seasonings there. So that's a really like well structured day, nothing time consuming, nothing like extraordinary, just a simple, well balanced diet. Another example of an example day would be 2 eggs and 2 egg whites on a slice of sourdough with some avocado. So you've got your protein source. If you're having eggs, I'd add 2 egg whites on top just to bump up the protein amount, because the white is where the protein is, the yolk is where the fat is. So if you take away the yolk, you're going to bump up your protein with next to no additional calories. And then 1 slice of sourdough, and then you could have some avocado on that, or maybe have some butter on your toast, and then with an orange just as a piece of fruit. Then for lunch, you can keep it as simple as a ham wrap. So everyone says to me, oh, I struggled to get protein in on my lunch, oh, I had to get lunch on the go. Are you telling me you didn't have 2 minutes to make a wrap before work the night before? Probably not. So yeah, 5 slices of ham, pack it absolutely full with a tortilla wrap salad, then you might have some cheese, and you might have a bag of popcorn on the side, or a bag of crisps, or a chocolate bar, whatever your calories can kind of fit in. And then an example dinner would be something like a fillet steak, or pork loins, or whatever, 200 grams of mashed potato and broccoli, and you might cook that steak in some oil, or you might add a bit of butter to your mashed potato, and then you could have some gravy with that, and then maybe an Eton Mess bowl on the side. I would urge you to go and look on Charlie and my Instagram. So on my Instagram, on this recipe tab here, I've got loads of recipes on there, and then as you're probably all aware, Charlie posts loads of recipes on his account, so they'd be really good to follow. And then I just wanted to finish off this by saying this. So many people get on the call with me, and I've spoken to all of you pretty much, and so many of you are guilty of this, of thinking that carbs are the enemy. Go back to my last video and remember where I speak to you about carbs are no more calories per gram than protein, and it's all about calories at the end of the day. So carbs are not more calorie dense. The reason people think carbs are the enemy is because they are bingeable. So you are way more likely to eat more pasta than you should than more chicken than you should. So just realise that each meal should have carbs in it, and they are not the enemy. It's just you think they are because they are bingeable. So I look forward to seeing some incredible meal structures from you all, and any questions that you have from this or off the back of this, just give us a shout.